We're now more than a week into the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, and with each passing day, there are no indications of peace ensuing anytime soon. This as the offensive continues on both sides and by both sides. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that their retaliation is just a quote-unquote beginning in the long fight against Hamas. Meanwhile, human suffering continues and the death toll keeps on rising. So far, over 1,900 Palestinians have lost their lives and at least 1,300 Israelis have been killed. In the latest, the Israeli Defense Forces in a briefing have said that their aim is very clear, which is to end state of this war by dismantling Hamas. They expressed hope that Palestinians will evacuate North Gaza as quickly as possible for their safety. IDF said that the situation on northern border with Hezbollah is also very tensed. New documents have surfaced that reveal that the militant group Hamas intentionally targeted elementary schools and a youth center in the Israeli kibbutz region. This was done to kill as many people as possible, seize hostages and quickly move them into the Gaza Strip. As revealed by NBC News, these documents, which are labeled as top secret, include detailed maps that show how the group planned to surround and infiltrate these areas. Meanwhile, thousands of people are now fleeing from northern Gaza to the south, and as they face an Israeli deadline for evacuating the area before an expected ground offensive against Hamas. More than 1 million Gazans were ordered to relocate within 24 hours on Friday. UN says it is horrified by this Israeli demand, and it's essential for the Israeli authorities to protect all civilians. On the other hand, Israeli strikes continue to pound Gaza. Israeli Defense Forces have shared footage that shows their continued strikes on the alleged Hamas targets in Gaza. And they've also released another footage which shows rockets being launched from Gaza towards Israel. The IDF have also shared that they've attacked a Hezbollah target in southern Lebanon just hours ago. Meanwhile, a Reuters news videographer has been killed in southern Lebanon. The incident took place when missiles fired from the direction of Israel struck him. Israel's envoy to the UN has said that the country will investigate what caused the journalist's death. New videos have also emerged showing the gruesome attacks Hamas mounted last Saturday that triggered the war. A Hamas recorded video shows militants at the site of the Nova Music Festival and in Israel's Rime. Militants can be seen arriving at the site and later shooting at the portable toilets. At least 260 festival goers were killed in the Hamas attack that ensued. Hamas has also released a video showing militants with captive Israeli children during the armed group's weekend cross-border rampage from the Gaza Strip. Militants can be seen bandaging the foot of an Israeli child, while others carried infants. The video is suspected to be from Israel's kibbutz Holith. There was no indication as to what the status of the captive children's parents or guardians was. Efforts are also growing to bring an end to the fighting and avoid a spillover. United Nations Security Council convened a meeting on the ongoing situation on Friday. UN chief says that the situation in Gaza has reached a dangerously new low. Now this as the Israeli siege has left them without food, fuel and electricity. Russia, in the meantime, has proposed a draft UNSC resolution on the conflict that calls for a humanitarian ceasefire and condemns violence against civilians and all acts of terrorism. Speaking of international diplomatic efforts, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken continues his West Asia trip to engage regional partners and avoid the conflict to spread. He has now landed in Saudi Arabia, where he'll meet with Saudi partners to discuss the situation. He was earlier in Bahrain, where he met the country's king and prime minister. In Qatar, he met with Qatari Emir, country's prime minister and foreign minister. Speaking in Doha, Blinken said there can be no more business as usual with Palestinian militant group Hamas. However, Qatari PM signaled that Qatar would not be closing the Hamas political office. He said the office was used for the purpose of communicating and bringing peace to the region. Blinken has expanded his trip from Israel and Jordan to include all of the Gulf Arab countries and Egypt. For more on this, we have with us Professor Yossi Shiin. He's a former MP and professor at Georgetown and Israel's leading political scientist. Welcome to the broadcast, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
I would like to begin by asking you about the visits lately. Firstly, by the UN Secretary of State, Antony Blinken. And followed by now, we have Austin Lloyd. What do you make of this?
Look, we have a completely different... We have opened a new era in the Middle East. Last week, exactly a week ago, on the Jewish Sabbath and on the holiday, I was privy. I was walking on the beach, as I do very early mornings, to a barrage of missiles on Israel. I was unaware of the invasion which was taking place just as the missiles were launched. And this invasion was not an invasion of a military force. It was an invasion of murderers who came to burn alive all the kibbutzim on the Israeli south, rape women, rip babies out of their bellies, kidnap our babies, and basically killing everyone that they saw. They killed hundreds and hundreds of children in a party and basically created for what it is reminiscent to us of Holocaust, a second Holocaust for us. This was the most traumatic event in Israel's history. We have not been able to comprehend the gravity yet of this assault, which was just full of hatred, nothing of any political nature. And we saw with the ISIS flags, we have to eliminate all the Jews. We have been awakened to a reality whereby people who came to eliminate us, and all of us, notwithstanding political party, notwithstanding orientation, have suddenly awakened to this horrific reality. Blinken and President Biden were so horrified by the pictures they saw. And Biden immediately made a statement and sent also the United States carrier to the region, because there was a danger that other Islamicists will think that Israel's vulnerability, which was really at that moment, because the intelligence signs didn't work, will attack, and a massive war will ensue in the Middle East. Israel has gathered the forces. We have recruited reservists, every Jew come from abroad to save the state of Israel. And now we have declared that we're going to fight Hamas until Hamas is eliminated completely. We have been in Hamas in negotiations for decades. We employ the Palestinians in our homes. We send them oil, we send them food, we send them all the necessities. We keep any signs of humanity. I've been involved directly. And here we get just a spew of Hamas leadership hatred to eliminate all the Jews. And this cannot continue with any language, which is language of normality.
Okay, also after this, I want to ask you about the hostage situation. Now, Israel is, of course, planning a ground incursion, and at the core of this, there are some complications. Firstly is the hostage situation, and secondly are the underground tunnels that, of course, the Hamas militants are more familiar with. So how do you think that the ground incursion that will ensue will change the course of this war?
We will not allow anymore a Hamas entity on our border. This has been the decision of the government and all the echelons, which means that we will fight a long war here to eliminate any remnants of Hamas infrastructure, Hamas institutions, Hamas affiliates. We will continue until we eliminate all the Hamas. It may take time, but the Israelis now have time. We have the power, we have the resources, and we, in fact, all our country is shut down for the sake of this war. They have declared holy war on the Jews to eliminate us. We have been suffering a Holocaust in the Nazis' hand. New Nazis has arrived into the neighborhood, and we will have to respond. We don't have any other place to go. So right now, all the tactics and all the issues will be weighed in, will be measured by the military echelon, by the political echelon, whatever needs to be done, and everybody's mobilized. And they have not seen yet what will happen, because right now we are not looking into incursions or anything else. We are determined to eliminate them, and they will no longer be a force in the Middle East. Otherwise, we will not be able to live, and that is not acceptable. And we also sent a sign to all other enemies in the north, Hezbollah or the Iranians. Once you are threatening our mere existence, you don't leave us a choice. We have to fight for our life. And that's exactly what is happening now.
Sure, Professor.
And all of the...
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out and giving us all those insights.
I just want to say one word, okay?
Sure, carry on.
If you allow me. Because I'm interviewed on an Indian network. I am a very close friend of India.
Please carry on.
I was also the member of the Knesset, the Israeli Parliament, emissary to India, and I know our many Indian friends. They understand me. I was honored in Gujarat. I came to India. I love India. You understand very well what happened here. You know, our hand was for peace. We haven't done anything. Nothing was provoked. On the contrary. And here you see the most gruesome, the most horrific crimes against humanity committed on us, on our holy day, for nothing, just to eliminate all the Jews as a creed. You understand very well that there is no other chance to live unless you fight your enemy, eternal enemies who decided to destroy you. This is what we are doing. We want to convey this message to Prime Minister Modi, to all of the Indians. You are our allies. You have to see what is happening and don't be misled by all kind of propaganda now that we are attacking and the Palestinians are moving and so on and so forth. We have not provoked that. They have attacked us and basically murdered all our families. And this is what happened. And this is exactly how we will respond. No one else would have responded otherwise.
Sure, Professor. Thank you. We understand it is a very horrifying situation on both sides and on a larger scale as well, almost bordering, or rather a humanitarian crisis that is ensuing. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.